Hello there, it's Linda Pinizzato. I'm speaking to you from the Hayes FM, and we're going to be talking about condominiums. So you are listening to the Condo Expert. In the last 2 weeks, I've been contacting different sources just around the province to get a little bit of an idea of how many more difficulties there are within different cities. And I'm just absolutely amazed at the fact that you cannot, if you took 10 condominium owners, out of the 10, I will guarantee you that at least one is having some degree of difficulty. And out of those 10, I would almost guarantee that maybe only 5 out of 10 truly understand what condominiums are all about. Now, 10 out of 10 may very well love their living environment, they love their condominium building, they love their unit, and this is not about whether or not you don't like what you're living in. It has to do with proper governance, just to make sure that in the future you have built equity with your property, that you're not spending money on things that should not be charged to your condominium. So in other words, to make sure that the board of directors that you put your trust into, that you felt were going to do the best interest of the corporation, that you probably voted on, believing that everything would be fine and wonderful, and the corporation, which is your condo building and everything around the condo building, would actually be governed so that you are protected. Because nowhere in your dreams did you ever believe that you weren't. And interesting enough, that theory is not only today in 2013, but that theory actually goes all the way back, to 1967. Because anyone that purchased a condominium, whether it be a condominium apartment, whether it's a condominium townhouse, and by the way, for your information, there actually is 5 different types of condominiums. They're not just the standard types that you see on a day-to-day basis. There are a number of different styles of condominiums out there as well. But the interesting part about this whole picture today, as the government of the province of Ontario and the Ministry of Consumer Services move forward towards creating what they call a Better Condo Act, you got to step back and think, okay, we're going to create a Better Condo Act. What is going to make it better? What is it that all the condo owners right now need to stop for a moment and reflect on their buildings? This is your opportunity. So take a look and think about things. Think about the time that you actually bought your unit. How much did you know? Let's break it down. There was somewhere along the way you said, hey, you know what? I want to buy a condominium. And the reason I do is because you want to downsize. Maybe you're a first-time home buyer. Maybe, it's all about affordability, of course. Maybe it's an easier lifestyle. Maybe it's your stepping stone to move forward on something else as you grow older. Or maybe, being a single person, maybe you've decided you just want that lifestyle until eventually when you step forward into an actual detached or semi-detached home. Whatever the reasons are, those are your personal reasons. And that was why you made that decision to buy into a condominium. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's fantastic to have home ownership. It's your beginning. If there's one person that endorses home ownership is myself. I've sold real estate since 1979. And I used to work at Atomic Energy. And then one day I decided that, I really did not want to stay in the corporate world. I was actually their engineering liaison for AECL right here in Mississauga. And I made the decision that, I really, really enjoy real estate. I found it fascinating. And funny enough, in high school, boy, I hated, did I ever hate history? I couldn't stand history. I was lucky to make a pass, getting a passing mark. I think I got 52% 4 years straight. It was awesome. But it got me through it. But that was it. But now mathematics was insane. I would hit the 98% on math only because I had a very analytical, mathematical mind. And when real estate came to the forefront to me in 79, I decided that I was going to step into it full force, I remember my first deal, it was a double-ender. I sold it and I listed it. It was the same property. And then I said goodbye, gave my walking papers to Atomic Energy. I left and I said, okay, I'm going into real estate full-time, and I never looked back. The reason I'm mentioning this is because back in 1979 to 2013, we've had a tremendous amount of changes in our real estate world, a tremendous amount. And in values and equity and structures and, how financing comes forward and, all of these type of things. I mean, back at those times, you couldn't even get a high ratio mortgage. I mean, you could not. You had to have at least 25% down payment in order for you to buy a property. And it didn't really matter what you bought. You had to have 25% down. And if you didn't have 25%, the only alternative was something called a VTB, a vendor take back on a mortgage. That would mean that the owners would have to agree to hold a mortgage for you. So you would have a first mortgage by a conventional bank, and you'd have a second mortgage, which was a vendor take back, and they would hold the mortgage. Now, the problem was, of course, is that if the people required all their monies out of the sale, they couldn't hold a mortgage because maybe they had to go on to buy another place. Well, chances are back at that time, when they bought another place, those people in the other place would have to have a vendor take back as well. Well, lo and behold, our provincial government stepped forward and the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation came about. And when they opened the door to what is a high ratio mortgage that you could buy with less than 25% down and then less than 20% down, okay, which is what it is today, becomes a high ratio mortgage. And the reason that high ratio mortgages, and whether they're being held by Canada Mortgage and Housing or whether it's a corporation called Genworth, it created affordability. And by creating affordability with a less of a down payment, it opened up a stronger market in the condominium market because now people could have a stepping stone to get into the housing market. Because, of course, condominiums started a little bit lesser in value. But the interesting part about it was in 1981, we had a crazy market. I mean, there was 21.75% interest rates back in 1981. I mean, people would be shocked if they listened to that today. And at that time, GICs, they were the same. They were 21.75% interest rates. And we had a housing boom, and it only lasted about 6 or 7 months. And then it carried forward, and things were fine. Eventually the rates started to decline down to maybe around, 12, 13, 14%. I remember in 1987, we had a crazy boom. Our market was just going nuts. I had a typewriter in the trunk of my car. I mean, we're going back to before there was computers. We couldn't go into an MLS system. We couldn't go into realtor.ca. The public had to depend on what the realtors were telling them in order for them to understand the real estate market and get an idea on value. But that's not the way it is today. Today we've got computers, we've got social media, we've got so much interconnections going on that knowledge is at your fingertips today. And it doesn't take anybody very much time at all is to step back and actually learn about a number of things. And that now, if you're a condominium owner, you should be taking advantage of this. Like, take advantage of it. The Condo Owners Association, www.coaontario.com, has just had an amazing revamp of the website. And on the top left-hand side, there's a category called Condo Information. And this section of the website will give you everything that you need to start to learn. It'll give you an overview with PowerPoints of what COA is all about. It will also give you recommended changes that the Condo Owners Association has submitted to the Ministry of Consumer Services. The recommendations, the draft plan, a lot of the content has to do with where the concerns on and how to create a better Condo Act. Even though they've gone through the policy forum and we're doing the Condo Act review, not everything is at the forefront if the Condo Owners Association isn't submitting important information that cannot be overlooked because it's all about you. It's about you. It's about protecting the consumer. So that section of the website also goes into buying a condo, whether it's a new construction, from a builder, and you need to know everything that you should with respect to what to watch out for, or whether or not it's a resale condominium purchase. So you can get information. You can also get information on how maintenance fees affects your value, and low reserve funds will affect your value. And what is a reserve fund? You may not even know that. So I do draw your attention to the condo information section of coaontario.com. Because as I said, I can back up now and we can look back at 1987, before the housing boom just took off. And at that time, it was very limited with how much information was ideally available for the general public. So moving forward in 1990, all of a sudden our market had a tremendous crash, and it took about 4 to 5 years for things to sort of come back to play again. And by about 1995, maybe 1998, all of a sudden there started to be a lot of communication going back and forth about condominium buildings. By 1999, a whole slew of condos were on the books in the planning department, the building departments, in order for condominiums to take a massive approach into the marketplace. And those same condominiums were erected, built, completed, and ready for new condo owners to move in by 2000 to 2001. We're going to talk more about condominiums and the history and how everything has exploded in our province. When did it happen? How did it happen? And why did it happen? So you're listening to Linda Pinizzato of the Condo Expert on the Hayes FM. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be right back, so please don't go away.
Linda Pinizzato. She's not your typical realtor. She's your real estate counselor, teacher, and advisor. Whether it's a house, townhome, or condo, when you're ready, she's your negotiator. With 34 years of experience, Linda guarantees that you have the real estate knowledge you need to make the right decisions. Call Linda Pinizzato at Sutton Group Quantum Realty, 416-561-7373, or visit her at lindapinizzato.com.
Hello there, it's Linda Pinizzato of the Condo Expert. And, I have to thank you for tuning in to Connect Me Radio. Every week we have the shows, Wednesday and Friday nights at 7 p.m. And you can also listen to podcasts, Linda Pinizzato /Buzzsprout.com. And also iTunes. Just type in Linda Pinizzato or Condo Expert. One thing I want to mention is, although the name is Condo Expert, I try to touch a lot of different subjects because, one thing revolves to the next. I mean, you can talk about condos, you can talk about single-family homes, you can talk about the market, the economy. You can talk about, last week it was about bugs and pest control. We've talked about mortgage financing, lawyers, the Condo Act review, what's going on with our city hall, municipalities, provincial government. Today, the episode's been about modular homes. We touched on mobile homes. There isn't a subject that I can't touch on. And if you are interested in listening to something that has tweaked your mind and you just can't find the real information, please email Linda at lindapinizzato.com, because this is where you're going to get the information. And it's fun, it's exciting, and at any given time, just type in condoexpert.com and it will give you the total rundown of all the shows that have been out there. There's over 200 shows. Now's the time to learn more. As a realtor for the last 35 years, I've been so fortunate to learn so many different things about everything that we have talked about, and I'm here to help you. So thank you so much for tuning in. You're listening to Linda Pinizzato at the Condo Expert. Hope to hear from you soon, and have a wonderful, fabulous day.